Hi, how are you? This is Bending Tone Live, and I'm Felipe Cortes, and we're gonna break down the Grammys because the Grammys keeps breaking down. And today, I want to start with a few things that will help pay for more of this live reporting, live coverage, live conversations, shows, and better products. We're gonna start with. All right, you can get. Bare and Beautiful homemade CD pocket jukebox for $2. Yesterday, was it yesterday? Yeah, this weekend I said it was $1, but like it's $1 per song. So like this one has more than two songs, so this is a good deal. $2. This one is also $2, two songs. This is the Pass Identifier, also from Pocket Jukebox. And I have the original 2001, released in February. Released in February 2001. Pink vinyl Stalkers board in the USA 7-inch. So if you want to help out with a show and you kind of like some, that's a little bit more today now current events. This is a little bit raunchier from 2001. All right, let's get started. I also have going to be making a video for this. And it's a cool Carlson bass. I want to say it has... the old school kind of cheap, not cheap, but I would say ghetto sounding pickups, and it's got that new school, very, very, very beautiful body that a lot of bass players tend to like. So if you want the best of both worlds, like a newer kind of body, very lightweight, great wood, and some old, very, very decompressed pickups. This is it. Carlson, I'll be making a video for it soon, unless you want to buy it right away. And this one right here, this is a beautiful Sounds of Chaos Brian Herrador guitar. This one's mine. I'm not selling this one. I'm going to be jamming on this one. I need to finish it and get it to look... well, it looks fine now, first of all, but I definitely wanted to have my thing going on. And if you want yours, you want it to look completely different, but you want the same high quality stuff that lets you have necks like this. Can you see it? I don't know if you can see it. It's a super nice neck right there. Oh, I need to turn on more lights. Hold on. Woohoo! Sorry, I'm running things on the fly here. But it's a super cool neck, super thin. Look at that. Solos for days. You don't even notice it. It's like there's nothing that you can go all the way there. I don't know if you want to play like that, but I know I wouldn't. But all right, but you can. That's the reality. You don't have to do what I do. All right, all right. So let's get started. Yesterday, I didn't watch the Grammys because it's garbage. I lost interest in the Grammys a long time ago. I remember when I was growing up, hearing all those things they would say. And all the awful things they'd say about really cool bands that I liked. And I'll be honest, they didn't sound like the record. And as soon as I saw Cliff Mall and saw that you can get those Marshalls to sound better than all of the Grammys union workers, just by having a VHS camera there. Wow, I kind of lost a lot of respect for that. And I realized if those people don't want that sound there, I should avoid them. I'll avoid all the garbage they're talking and all the garbage they're saying and all those negative emotions. I can avoid all of that if I just don't worry about it. So I never got interested into the Grammys per se. It is one song or two songs, right? Like from people that I'd rather discover them at a show. Most of the time, I mean, it's like if the good bands sound like garbage there, does everybody sound better away from the Grammys? I kept thinking that. So my guess was probably everyone sounds better away from the Grammys. And not to offend anyone who's working at the unions. I know you guys have families. I know you guys have people that care about you and your communities and your cities and all that good stuff. But really, when it comes to music, you suck. You're terrible. I would not pay for that show. I would never want to be a part of that show. It looks boring. It feels boring. There's no connection with the audience the way you get at a festival show. At a festival show, you get like, what, a half hour of a band that you might fall in love with right there if you don't already like them. You get a full range of what the band or artists are able to do. It's much better to watch those festival shows. And as far as I'm concerned, they're also more meaningful. And not to contradict everything Danzig or Misfits are going through right now, but this is better. Why? Because it allows that connection to be real with the viewers. We're not connecting with the Grammys. Some of us may never connect with the Grammys, ever. So those festival shows mean a lot more. If you are like me and see through the garbage at the Grammys, see how awful really good talent is treated because they don't go along with what everybody says, then this might be a good episode for you to watch. Pass it to friends. Share it now if you're watching. The reality is that what is going on at the Grammys is ridiculous. All right, hold on. Give me a second. Woohoo! All right. It's an 800 number. I don't know who they are. I get a lot of machine calls. And yes, I am wearing a Slipknot shirt. And no, I don't like socialism. No, I don't like communism. No, I don't like fascism. I can disagree with Corey Taylor all day. We agree a lot on sound, style, and the fact that they have a really good message on the street. So that we'll agree with that, and I'll agree with that. And I'll keep wearing my Slipknot shirt, but I mostly disagree with socialism, fascism, and communism. Okay, back to the subject. All right, so we want to get some good tones. I'd like to get into dismantling the Grammys, but again, it's a show that I don't want to be a part of. If it falls apart, if it turns out to be just as horrible as everything related to Me Too, then let it fall. I don't need it. I'd rather go to a festival. I'd rather go to a local show than to those really weird, awkward, stuffy, suit and tie rock events. What is that? I don't really do that. I didn't really have a connection to country before Johnny Cash. It wasn't anything I wanted. It wasn't anything that I needed. So like, whatever. All I needed was some rock shows and like a job to pay for my garage band. Which is, I guess, what I'm doing now. So if you can help me get my garage band out there, cool. It's not really a garage band, but whatever. Let's get to the point. I think the Grammys doesn't like metal or punk rock, especially from the area, because we're uncontrollable here. They have no say in what we do. They have no way to control us or guide us or push us into some garbage blackmail, or we're just uncontrollable. We're unruly. It's not that we're brown. It's not that we're short. It's not that we're foul-mouthed. It's that we don't go along with any of their garbage, don't believe it, and would rather be with our friends and family. I think that's what they don't like about us, that we would attract real business people to these parts because we are more family-oriented than they are, and they're the ones pretending to push family values and try to control what you think and what you say. So let's be real about that. I'm not into being told what to do or what to say like most people I know. I almost want to avoid telling people what to do with their tone, but when I see garbage like what I've seen on the Grammys for years and years and years, I mean, you couldn't get Trent Reznor and Queens of the Stone Age to sound good. You know, I'm almost really glad that Body Count covered up their amplifiers, man. If they were using the latest, greatest Mesa Boogies or the latest, greatest Marshalls, it would be really embarrassing to think that these companies are ruining so many good names out there. Grammys, let it go. You're terrible. You're not helping anything in rock or metal. You're definitely not deciding for us. We're glad that Mastodon is getting recognized around the world for being a cool rock band, but that has nothing to do with the Grammys. You don't influence us. We don't care what you think. We will listen to whoever we like, regardless of what you tell us. So let's get started. You want to beat the Grammys? You got to do it right. Let me start with equipment to get started. I'm assuming all of you know how to play. I'm assuming all of you are aware that you need real amplifiers to get your sound to a live stage. If you know that you need a real amplifier to get to a stage, then and you already sound pretty good, you already like the way it sounds, you like the way it feels, this is for you. And why you should focus on putting on your own shows and streaming those shows either through your own channel or something that is friendly and familiar to your audience. And if you have any more questions, definitely send me a message. Let's start with clean tone. Clean tone got figured out by this. This is the easiest way to get clean tone, unless you have like EMGs. But oh no, you know what? Let's start with the connections. Computer connections. Most of us are interested in recording into a computer of some sort, some kind of digital interface. I go straight into my computer. There's wonderful floor tracks out there that I have not tried, have not looked at, and probably can't afford right now. I'm sure most of them are great. I haven't gotten into that. As soon as I get into that, I'm sure it will be an easy explanation. But if you're going into a computer like me, and I'm using Roxio to capture, to edit, to layer, to mix. I'm using Roxio for a bunch of reasons because it has a bunch of features, and it's like, I mean, when it's brand new and expensive, it's like $200, and like if you get a used one, it's like 100 or less. They're a great company as far as I've read, and they put out some really amazing products. So Roxio's cool stuff. Another one here. This, I don't even know how old this thing. Am I holding it right? Oh, no, I'm not. This is Behringer's U-Control. This is like the oldest rock and roll internet interface, whatever. I don't know what to call this thing. It has a wonderful name. U-Control. The UCA202. I don't know how. Mine is so old it actually adds noise. A lot of people don't like that it adds noise. Sometimes it adds noise in the right place and it feels right. I gotta get a new one. I'll get a new one later. I'm not using it that much. I'll probably get a new one before I start recording seriously. But these are great. These are cheap. It would have been, like, I'll be honest with you, if they had been made in Germany, I would have paid a lot more and been a lot prouder that Behringer had not only designed something like this, but also engineered it. I have a few Behringer pedals, not to get all on the cheap, but I may explain why I got the other one, why I got my multi-effects delay pedal. I'll get into that later. But this is a really good hookup. It helps get you really clean tone. It does eat and chew a lot of your signal, which is why you need to figure out how to get something else. Why you can't just plug your guitar into this, and you can't. I'm gonna need to explain some of this stuff. All right, so there's this. To get clean tone, this is it right here, clean tone. This is a Digitech Trio. It's a really great learning tool. I never used a metronome because I just read so many stories about musicians going crazy, and I can kind of bet that they probably all had metronomes, and maybe it was that same monotonous click 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 that drove them crazy. I didn't want to try it. I had a family, or not. When I was young, I didn't want to drive my parents or my little sister crazy, so I didn't have a metronome because I just thought it was like a bad idea. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I would have gotten better a lot faster. I don't know, but you know what? I didn't get one. I got one of these. This I like. This serves as a bass and drums simulator. It creates a band for me. So I like that. This one is the super simplest to use. I'm actually selling one. If you want to buy one off of me, I'm asking full price. Send me an offer. I'll if it's not a low ball, I might just honor it and send it to you. I don't want to lower the price on this thing because it is fantastic technology. Let me get into explaining it. You want to connect your output here, which is like it's got the symbol of headphones on here. It's your headphone out. This is what you want to use. You either want your mixer or your amp on this side, and the difference is the amp has the drums and the bass a little lower. On the mix, it's a little louder, or the other way. I haven't plugged it in, but there's a volume difference on both of those, and I think it's louder on the mix because I use the mix one a lot. So I think that's why I use it. We'll get into that later. You should try it at home. But you want these just for your amps or your mixer, one or the other. You want the headphone out for digital. If you're going to be streaming this live, you want the digital signal. Why? Because everything digital likes stereo. I'm not sure how or why they did that, but they did. As long as we all know that everything digital, all the computer systems that we have, all of those internet mainframes, all of that stuff, it loves stereo. So if we can do this right to your computer, and you can probably use one of these type of things. I actually don't have the cable for this because I use this differently, very differently. I do not use it the way it's meant to be used. I use it. I found a way for me to use it. It is a bit noisy, so if you want to hook up your distortion pedals, you might have to get really, really creative about that, because maybe it's just where I live. Maybe it's just there could be a bunch of reasons. Maybe it's the chemtrails. No, I'm joking. I don't know what it could be on this, but it's a bit noisy. So I use it my way, where it's not so noisy. And one of these will help. You definitely would want outputs like that, or outputs like this. These are a 1/4 inch. These are RCA. You definitely want those to be coming out of your headphone cable. You don't want to use a big fat adapter because you'll break it. And this, well, you know, these were like, you know, these were kind of expensive when they came out. They're much cheaper now because the new ones have so many other features. They're good pedals. They give you, let's see, they give you a blues preset, a pop preset, an alt rock preset, a rock preset, a country preset, R&B, and jazz. These presets are pretty amazingly accurate. I'm not someone that has had years of studio experience, but I know what good amps sound like. And so many times when I see a Marshall or a Mesa Boogie on television, it sounds like a clean Fender. And really, that's all you need to get clean. So it makes it easy to get that sound. This sweetens it up. It gives you a studio tone. I don't want to say sweeten up. I really would like to not talk the street slang, but the reality is I found out how to use a bunch of this stuff by talking to people that I know on the street. Not that there's that many musicians walking the street these days, but there used to be. And this is very accurate. And it's going to be louder than anything you plug in distorted. And I'll explain distortion later. You can check out, I'm sure there's a bunch of other videos on YouTube that you can check out to see how this is used and to see what this does. It's a fantastic unit. You really can get a very clean, almost Fender, almost Marshall, almost Mesa Boogie, clean tone, very, just amazing clean tone on this. And you get a bunch of really cool like, I want to say EQ settings that are, I mean, you just dial a knob and it sounds like that. And if you want to learn how to play that style, you play that style. It's really good. This is a great learning tool, but it also helps on my pedal board. So the fact that I can push a button and get some nice little diddly in between songs while I drink beer or whatever, or be on Tangerine, depending on the show. This really does help. And now we want to go into overdrive. If you've got a Marshall, if you've got a Mesa Boogie, if you've got one of those really high-end or really old Fenders with a bunch of outputs with line out and stuff, you might need a Countryman Type 85. I've got an old one. I think my dad's got it right now. He doesn't use it either. You should be able to get great tone out of that. It works for so many other people. Why do metal bands sound like garbage when they get on television? I'm guessing you don't care enough to learn how to use your equipment, don't care enough to talk to the musicians, or you just want to make those bands look bad because they're not going to go along with anything. They're going to keep buying whatever they want to buy. They're going to keep doing whatever they want to do. And with no further ado, let's look at this. I'm using this. This is an old GNX3000 from Digitech. And this has to be one of the older models, so you don't have to get this one. Actually, I'm going to explain this one because this to me is like buying a whole pawn shop all at once and having great tone out of all the presets. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, those presets are terrible. It'll never sound like a real amplifier. I've heard all that, and I've also heard never ever plug one of these into something solid state because it'll sound like garbage. No, that's exactly what I do. I plug directly into solid state. We can get into solid state later. Right now, what this does is this gives you a studio out of board. It's a huge monster of a beast, but it's like a studio in here, like for guitar. Really, I wouldn't recommend it for bass because it does not have the full wave capacity that a bass needs. And I might go check a bass pedal out if it has all the other stuff that I like in it. I know that these Digitech. Oh yeah, I should also explain that I don't do things the way everyone else does. I used to play just guitar amps, but I've always been like loving that Black Sabbath Misfits tone. I want that. I always wanted that. Always tried that. Like I said, I've walked into so many shows where the Marshalls sound like garbage. Where I'm like, I don't want to sound that. I don't want the Marshall anymore. And you realize you have to move the knobs, but as soon as you plug into other stuff, you get to really choose what you want, and that's what I kind of grew up knowing. I knew that I could get what I want by moving those knobs and doing things differently, and if it ever came to being recorded live, I know that Fender is one of the easiest amps to get recorded. Like, it's hard to get that wrong if you've got a Shure mic, which is it's an industry standard, And I understand also why so many people walked away from Shure and EV after watching so many lousy Grammy performances. And I'm not blaming everything on the Grammys, but you're not helping, guys. This does help. Again, the same thing. I get the output from the headphones. On the headphones, this is 1/4 inch. This is what I use. This has a 1/4 inch out for the headphones. So when you buy a 1/4 inch cable, or you buy a 1/8 or a 1/8 cable, or whatever you've got, whatever your headphones out is, make sure that you're buying one that's stereo. It'll give you 2 outputs. It should have 2 cables on the outside. So let's start with that. That goes out into your digital, wherever your digital. Pardon me, I just had to up. Whatever your digital in is, you want this coming out and going to your digital. You should be able to handle it. And I want to say that it's really that easy, but it's not. Okay, you also have to make sure that this thing is set for your cabs. Make sure your cabinet is chosen. A lot of people say, don't put the cabinet through it. Solid state, it'll sound disgusting. It's whatever. Look, here's the reality. You set this up on your cab, and what I do is I make sure that it goes out through my guitar amp or my bass amp. I'm using a bass amp right now. I'm using so much overdrive, so much fuzz, so much bottom end that I can't believe that Body Count didn't sound right yesterday. I'm just shocked. Oh, but they have big mixers and you just don't understand their technology. No, I do understand their technology, and if anyone would like to discuss some of the circuits, I'd be glad to. Because I almost think they're lying, or they don't want us to be free, or they don't want children to think that this thing that is part of, certainly this part of Southern California, this very rebellious culture that I want to say doesn't require too much funding from anyone, will exist, has existed, and will continue to exist as the true rebellion to whatever we're being told to be. And these tools guarantee that. These tools allow us to get those sounds, to not sound like everybody else, to not rip off the Metallica sound, to not rip off the Pantera sound, but have it all in here so that we can like really get a feel for what sounds we have. And with having this many options, really, if you just set your speaker options on these properly, you will love the presets. These presets are powerful. I have my own. I did my own thing. I worked on the lower register on a fuzz and blues amp because I always love that lower register. When you're playing with a DJ, it's the only thing that sounds even remotely as good as the DJ. If you're not using it that way, it probably won't sound as good as the DJ, and you can prove it because you'll be playing shows. So if you're at home and you've got something from Digitech or from a company that has a really fantastic headphones out, check it out. I want you to record it at home. You don't have to use a Behringer conversion device. You can use the one you have. I want you to test it at home and see what it sounds like. Does it sound better than anything that you heard at the Grammys? Please post it and tell us that you're getting better. Because I think I not only did that through that thing, I think I'm pretty sure I can do that with a bass app. I haven't tried it yet because it hasn't been necessary, but I'll try it through a PV. I'm in the process of recording a demo, more than just a demo, with a band. So I will be using some of that stuff, this stuff. I may do it right from the app because this PV has sounds that isn't available on any other products. So I may want to figure that out. That may be complicated. It might not be though, because the reality is those compression ratios that you put in can let you sound like those like there's no difference on, very little difference on what I've recorded and what I sound like and what's on YouTube. Very little difference. And I've got friends that walk in and go, it sounds like that, man. And how I got that was knowing that they overcompress everything. So I went ahead and maxed the compression on my settings. Granted, this is older technology, and I almost always get my sound out of older instruments. When everybody was doing Marshall Fender, I had a son. And when everybody's doing, when everybody was doing, Mesa Marshall, I was doing Crate. And right now everybody's doing those fantastic new apps, and I'm I got an old Digitech GNX. So that's kind of how I know that, there is either a bunch of liars and unions, or I don't need them, one or the other. And you can have your way with that one. I'm not interested in doing their thing anyway. I never was. It kind of bores me. This I enjoy. This I really like. So if you want some great country tones, check one of these out, man. Check anything out that's digital that you like. Maybe one of those pedals has a signature artist that you like. You know what? That's a good start. Make sure that you set it up with the right cabinet. Why? Because it's your sound. It's the way you like it. You make sure you get that cabinet right, and then you go ahead and plug into one of these. This will sound close to what it sounds like over there on your computer or your digital recording device. This is closer that way if you do it that way. And the reason I don't believe them is because I can get better at home. So I want you to try this at home. I want you to see what you can do at home and see if you can prove that you can do better. I want to thank you. And again, if you want to buy a Carlson bass right now, send me a message. If you want to custom order your very own Brian Herrador Sounds of Chaos guitar, go ahead and send me a message. If you want to buy one of these, Bare and Beautiful from Pocket Jukebox, get them. I don't have too many. Literally, I've got maybe a handful of this one. I've got a few more of the Pass Identifier. Both are $2. This is like $4.50. Send me a message. And if you want to talk about tone or you want to try something out, we can. And I might explain my my digital multi-effects pedal at some other time. It's a Behringer pedal. You might like it, but I think if you have, the reason I like it is because it has a gate that lets me know when I'm using too much overdrive. I do a lot of overdrive experiments. If I can get my sound to be pretty close to what it is live on digital, why can't the Grammys? I'm pretty sure you can. I would like you to prove that you're better than the Grammys. So please record something and tell all your friends how to do it, because maybe we don't need the Grammys. Maybe anybody watching that has this equipment, maybe you're like 15 or 16, you look at your dad's or uncle's old equipment and it's there and it's like, this is old and nobody wants it. No, man, pick it up. It might be really cool. It might be exactly what you need. Go for it. If I'm going to sell any of their stuff, I would say get the new stuff. The new stuff does all the stuff the old stuff does, and it's cool and it's new. If you can get the new stuff, get the new stuff. If you find out that you can get better sounds and that there's new other ways to do it, and you can connect it to DJ equipment and you can connect it to keyboards, we can't wait to hear that sound. So please go for it. Prove to the Grammys that you're better and record something with your stuff. And remind them that we don't need them to tell us what's cool. We can go stream this and show our friends what's cool. So I want to thank you, and hopefully we'll chat later, and I'll definitely do some more live reports, and we can get involved with what it is that we love and care about. So thank you very much. I'm Felipe Cortes at Then Address, and this is Bending Tone.